Alright, so I've been meaning to do this post for you don't even want to know how long. Just keep on putting it off, but I want to talk to you about the advantages of a student worker right quick. If you aren't using student workers already, then you're missing out big time. So let's talk about some of the reasons why you should hire student workers. Untapped, and they're all below, so you can read them if I go too fast. Untapped resource for a variety of skills. Think about it. You work at a college or university with all kinds of majors, minors, programs, emphasis, whatever. If you need somebody to prove content, get an English major. If you want a programmer, go after a computer science major. If you want somebody to help you deal and manage with people, get you a philosophy or psychology major or business major. You know, there's whatever's out there. You need somebody to help you design pretty graphics. You know, go after an art major, layout, journalism. You know, pick and choose. Take whatever you want. This is such an untapped resource, and not only they untapped, but they're student workers. So guess what? They work for very low wages. Well, you know what I mean. It's a lot cheaper to hire a student worker than it is a full-time employee. They're getting real-world experience. You know, why do kids come to college? They come to college to get educated. Well, wouldn't that even be more valuable and better for your institution if you could also educate them in some real-world stuff like the web? You know, it's something here that's here to stay. And I always tell people, remember email 10 years ago? If you would have told you that you would not be able to get by without email today, if you had no email today, we're going to take it away from you. You had to do your job. People think you're crazy today. 10 years ago they did, but now look how vital it is. Content management systems in the web are going to be like that in 10 years. You heard it here first. I've heard a lot of discussion about social media plans. I mean, a lot's been written about it on this blog. We need a social media plan. We got to understand social media. What do we understand it? Student workers, guys. If you know, every one of my students must spend 2 hours a day on Facebook. They get it. They understand these tools. They understand how to connect with them because they are them. So hire some of them and get them involved in coming up with these strategies and plans because they know what works because it's working on them. So get them involved in that and you know, pay them to do it. And they'll love you for it. They can also teach you, you know, just as I was mentioning with social media, they can teach you how to do social media. One of the things that I love doing with my student workers is I'll read about some new toy or some new software or some new website and be like, God, I wish I had an hour just to go play on it. So what do? When one comes in, I say, your task today is to go play with Animoto or you know, go play with this site or whatever and tell me what you think. And I don't have to go spend an hour of my time figuring it out, and they can come back and say, hey, look what I created in it, or oh, that site sucked, there's no point in it, or you know, what are the redeeming qualities of it? You know, get them involved, get them caring, and you can you know, get your reach much bigger. And finally, those little 5-minute tasks, can you please update this on the site, or can you please do that, or these little things that nitpick your day apart. Student workers not only can do these little things if trained, but they get a sense of accomplishment because they know they're helping the bigger picture of the team by solving little things. And it frees up your time so you can work more on big projects. All winners. Not convinced yet, or you are convinced? Alright, so let's talk about, there are some strategies I've learned over the years because I've been managing Wofford's website for 2.5 years, and even before that when I worked in IT I had student workers that helped at the help desk and whatnot. So here's some strategies that I've found very successful, and I'd love to hear some of yours. Pay them more than a minimum wage. Don't start them out at I don't even know what minimum wage is now, but pay them a few dollars more. If they know they're getting paid a little bit more, they have more incentive to work harder, and you also have more incentive to kick their butt if they're not working hard. So give them a little pay bump, and make sure they realize you're not here to come do your homework all day. You're here to learn and do work, and you're going to get paid well for it. They respond well to that. I don't hire freshmen. I start them out as sophomores, so I have them for 3 years. As they go through the program, they get more skills, and by the time they graduate, they're ready to go to the real world, and they've got great stuff on the resume. But I also get to hold them for a little while. Expect a lot. Expect them to do a lot. You know, have high expectations. Make sure that they know that you want them to succeed and you want them to get in here and really make a difference and And don't be such a, give them some room to experience with stuff and play with stuff and see how it goes, and be very supportive of that. I like to do kind of a semester contract rule. We don't necessarily, this isn't necessarily a said rule, but they know that, that if it's not working out, then, well, we'll move on and they can move on. This is another big thing, that instead of hiring a full-time person, that it's very hard to fire someone in higher ed, especially a full-time person. But with a student worker, well, if it's not working out, you let them go. Give them a defined schedule, and if they're going to work 10 hours a week and they give you a schedule and they don't do it, you say, well, I'm sorry, it just wasn't working out. Next semester we're going to go another direction. It's professional to do it that way. They understand what's going on. You understand what's going on, and you can get another student and then plug them in. Let them take ownership in the program, and this is what really sells it. We start them out as sophomores, as I mentioned, and they have 3 years to grow throughout. And you start them out learning how to do, a little bit of everything. Start them learning how to deal with our content management system. Get them familiar with the social media. Teach them all about RSS, because it's still kind of a geek thing. Let them play on Twitter and whatnot. And as they learn these more skills and they start coming up with new ideas and new ways to market, you can give them a little more wiggle room to do some of this. And as they move up the chain, so our seniors actually train our sophomores now. So those mundane tasks that they don't want to do anymore, they teach another student how to do them, and they don't have to worry about them anymore. And it just progresses, and you know that as you move farther along, there is hope of not having to do these mundane tasks one day. But you've learned the skills how to do it and are better able to see the big picture because of it. Give them lots of positive encouragement too. I really, try to make it a point on a regular basis to tell them, hey, good job today. I really liked what you were doing there. And remember, everybody does things a little bit different. Don't be so overbearing. This was a big difficulty for me. I wanted everything to be done my way, and sometimes you just got to step back and realize it doesn't always have to be done your way. Let them be a little creative, and in the end, sometimes you might come up with ideas that you didn't even think were possible. So there you go. There's some reasons to get student workers and some practical ways to help manage them and deal with them. And really, even more than student workers, ways to deal with anybody. Everybody wants to kind of have a progressive place that they know they're moving through the institution, that when they reach a certain point that there is hope of getting promotion to something else. And everybody loves to be encouraged and pat on the back and hear they're doing a good job, and just as much, if they're not doing a good job, be firm about that. I've loved working with my student workers. That has been one of the biggest joys of my job, and really working with them and molding the future of tomorrow, and getting them thinking about these things and getting them excited about these tools and excited about the web and interacting with people. And I encourage you, if you're not doing the same, to get on it. And if you are, I'd love to hear some of those stories. Leave some comments. Thanks for listening.